Hi, welcome back to the show. I'm Jeff Gerstmann. Giant Bomb's E3 29. There, I got it. I pointed the right direction the first time. There. Hi, it's me. E3 2019 continues. We've got more guests from Respawn Entertainment.
Hello.
We've got Vince Zampella. How you doing, sir?
I'm doing great.
Awesome. Drew McCoy is here.
Hello, Jeff.
And Rayme Vinson down there in the end.
Hello.
Good to see you.
He's from Alaska.
He's from Alaska.
Yeah, it's
what I'm
cold
told.
there.
Is it cold? What was it like when Pitbull came there and played?
It was never the same.
Yeah.
There's a before Pitbull and an after Pitbull.
Yeah, global warming. I mean, he named the album Global Warming. So
We didn't have polar bears until he,
until did he show up with them and just like
I'm
Dale,
not,
and then they were
I'm actually
there,
not allowed.
or-
I've actually said too much.
Okay,
Yeah.
all right.
If we if you could edit this part out.
Okay, yeah. Can we chop this out of the archive?
Thank you.
Great. Okay, cool, terrific. So Respawn, kind of a big year, huh? Kind of a big little chunk of time.
That's what they tell us.
Just doing our thing.
With these two games, Apex Legends, obviously out there now.
Only out there a little bit. We're going to be full out there.
Are we?
Yeah. Well, mostly
Is
out
that like season
July
3
2nd.
fully out there?
Yeah, it's
or
almost
Yeah.
always out
Yeah.
there, and then it keeps going.
And more out there.
is that how live games work? Is it's like you're always kind of thinking about the next thing? It's like this is out here and people like it, but season 2, season 3, season 4.
Yeah, I'm thinking
That's
like
where
season
the Titans
9.
drop, right? That's
Maybe not.
season 5. What do we? No, but like, how has that been? Obviously, kind of new to the whole nonstop, ongoing,
tough.
always updating thing.
Honestly, it's tough. We were really good at finishing games. Like I always call us closers. We faff about for about a year and figure out some cool stuff, and then we realize, oh, this is really neat. We should make that. And then we work really, really hard, and it's like you can check the game every day, and it gets measurably better until we ship.
And then we're done.
And then we're done. And then you get another 2 or 3 years to do that again. No, not anymore.
Well, yeah,
You get another couple weeks. It's been tough, but I think we're figuring out how to do it. We're getting our
Yeah, we almost
rest.
broke Drew.
Yeah,
But not quite. I
I mean, every year I always get a little bit fatter, a little bit grayer. Just this year more so.
Sure, it's
but-
just accelerating a natural
It's
process.
like gravity well type, physics at work.
That makes sense. It really, I mean, it exploded onto the scene. The stunning kind of surprise announcement, the leaks ahead of time, all that stuff.
By the way, I gotta say, someone sent around screenshots from when you were being disclosed.
Yeah.
And the range of emotion.
Do we have those? Can we show those?
It was really good. I could probably pull on my phone
it was
right
really
here.
good.
Let's do it.
But it's like a free-to-play game from Respawn in the Titanfall universe comes out Tuesday, and you're like,
It was really,
Yeah, Brad deliberately kind of got back, and I was like,
Yeah.
so what is it? And he's like, I'm not going to tell you until we're recording. I'm like, okay, all right. And it was funny because then he came back with some footage from the event, and I watched it, and I was like, this looks cool. People are going to be pissed. And it seems like there was a window there where people were like, this is so not Titanfall 3. This is but that very quickly kind of got overwhelmed by like, oh, actually, Apex Legends is super dope. Like, what? Let's just go play that. That must have been a real roller coaster.
well, that was the plan. Whenever you're getting ready to announce a game and figure out how you're going to market it over the 6 whatever months from when you announce it to it ships, you come up with we were going to talk about at what point and everything. And so we'd sit down with marketing guys and PR and be like, okay, how are we going to talk about this game? And it's like, oh, all the headlines are going to be bad. This is a Titanfall universe game without Titans, and it's
you don't want
first
to go
EA
out and be on the defensive immediately.
Yeah.
This is
Free-to-play
just
game from
Free-to-play game.
Electronic Arts.
It's our first game after being bought by EA.
Yeah.
It's got MTX. It was just that's all going to go over poorly. How about we just let the game do the talking? Like you said, there's a window of people going, where's my Titanfall 3?
Yeah.
Oh, actually, it's pretty fun.
Yeah. Yeah, but also, there was talk, I guess, there was some talk about the game's not getting updated fast enough compared to Fortnite, which Fortnite sounds like maybe it has some of its own issues with personnel, labor, all that other stuff. So at the time, you came out and said, hey, we're not going to break our people to keep this game updated. And was that around the time, because originally, around the time of Apex launching, there was this notion of you said like, hey, there's more Titanfall stuff to come, and we'll be talking about that for later this year. It sounds like at this point that's maybe like, hey, that's.
It's kind of on hold. We put all resources on Apex. It kind of came out so furiously that we had to put everyone on, making sure that the game played well for the people that were engaged with it.
Yeah.
So,
and we're starting to talk now about season 2 and those sorts of things. Is season 2 the first season that is kind of built with like real player data in mind, or was a lot of the stuff locked down prior to that?
So we try and keep things as loose as possible, as long as possible, even to the point where we're talking about in development, you have to kind of like lock what you're working on weeks or a month in advance before you ship it, so you can fix bugs and strip out all the stuff that's not supposed to be in there. And we have to like kind of, instead of pipelining patches and be like, okay, this patch will go into cert now, and then before it comes out, we'll have another patch going in. Like, that's bad, because patch 1 will come out, and then people will complain, or they'll say this is really good, or you should fix this. And then patch 2 comes out and didn't address any of it because you already put it into production before patch 1 was out.
Right.
So now we got to figure out, like, okay, at least let's get a few days of time in there where we can hear from players before we start locking things down. But when it comes to things like the character that's coming out in season 2, Watson, we've been playing her since last spring. So there's some things that are very certain to us, and other things that are very kind of touchy-feely and very painful for those of us who are used to knowing very certainly what's going to happen a year in advance.
Right. Yeah. No, I bet that's got to be.
And characters take a long time.
Well, I would imagine. Yeah. I mean, there's a delicate balance of like, hey, you know how many players are in a squad and all this stuff. Like, I imagine that getting those abilities right, or even just saying like, hey, what type of character do you want to? What archetype do you think this game needs next? How far is that roadmap now? You say you've been playing Watson since last spring. How many more characters are there that you have been playing in some form that maybe not necessarily see the light of day, but like how many prototypes or things that you
probably at the 24 mark, I would imagine. Wow. About 20.
Yeah.
Some of them have been shelved indefinitely, and others are going along their path. It's about a 6-month to 8-month period of prototyping and iteration, and then deciding, okay, these couple are worth taking to what we'd call alpha. That's all mechanical alpha. And at that point, it goes into production, and then we got to get writers and concept artists and animators and modelers involved, and that is its own task, because you got to figure out what actually both works functionally, like what's the silhouette of the character, and does that portray their abilities? Like Watson, again, season 2, she's really good. She's all about electricity. So she's got this big pylon thing coming off her side, and you can see it from a distance. But also, is there an emotional hook to this character? Like, is there a reason for someone to want to create a cosplay costume? And is there a backstory that makes people fall in love with them? And that actually takes a lot longer. Like, I'm a very simple person. I just like to shoot guns in video games. But there's a huge amount of people who really care about this stuff.
Totally,
and
yeah. I mean,
it's amazing watching the team make it all.
Right, and that feels. Well, I guess like it feels like fairly recent for shooters, but like, you know, if you start looking at fighting games and stuff like that, like people have been getting attached to characters and in sometimes unhealthy ways for decades, and it's been interesting seeing that kind of work its way into other games, and you know, people identifying with like whether it's like the Rainbow Six Siege operators or you know the Overwatch characters and now the Apex Legends, if you will.
It's great to be in such good company.
Yeah, it's been interesting to see just kind of like games, I guess, go in that direction.
Yeah, and for us, production-wise, it's like we used to think about single-player levels in that way. It's a multidisciplinary, like you got people from every department working on it for the course of a year plus. But there's usually someone driving it on when it comes to a single-player level. Like it's usually a designer who understands what they're trying to accomplish, and they kind of are a mini director of that level. Now we have characters that take the same amount of time as a single-player level, and they get just as much love and effort and scrutiny.
Yeah.
And it's been a mind shift.
Maybe more.
Yeah, probably actually.
Like the story stuff.
Because a single-player level is like 15 to maybe 40 minutes.
Right.
Whereas a character in Apex Legends, you're going to maybe play 100 hours if you're really into the game.
Yeah.
So they got to stand up to a lot of scrutiny.
So you had leaks ahead of the initial game's announcement, but then those even pointed to, was it some year-old thing that leaked that was like, hey, by the way, this is the map of Respawn's next game. And people were like, bullshit, no way.
They were very contained, though, surprisingly.
Yeah.
Like, there were some things that leaked out that people just didn't buy into.
Right.
Yeah, there was like a random like 3 a.m. 4chan leak. Like summer last year or something.
Yeah,
I found it, and I thought it was like, when you're working on a game, I don't know if this happens to anyone else, but I have like vivid nightmares where I accidentally like send an internal email to you.
Oh yeah.
And I'm like, oh no!
Yeah.
And then whenever we like announce a game or in Apex's position we ship it, I'm scrolling through Twitter and I start seeing like art and screenshots, and I'm like, oh crap, what did I do? What did I do? What did I do? And it's like a nightmare come alive.
It was like,
Maybe you were at a sushi restaurant.
I left the USB stick in a restaurant. I hear that happens these days. Oh God. What else is on there?
Too soon.
Sorry. Yeah. No. Yeah. That's so. When we were selling Giant Bomb to CBS, I got a message from someone on the site that just said, out of the blue, "I know you're selling the company to CBS."
That's terrifying.
And I was like, oh shit.
Yeah.
Because that was like, oh, this is going to blow up the deal. This is going to be this. It turned out that like the head of our company, who was like the former CEO of CNET or whatever, had gone back to give a talk or something like that. So he was in the building and around, and someone saw him and went, and then turned out to be 100% right. But I was just like reading that, just like shitting bricks, just going, I think that's the closest I think I've come to like leaking our own stuff. Usually we're fucking up a publishing system somewhere and leaking someone else's stuff.
We do the same thing.
Yeah.
Thanks for that.
Yeah, no problem. It happens. You check the wrong box, and then suddenly the story's live. You're like, oh, motherfucker. I gotta make some phone calls. God damn it. But yeah, that's...
It didn't get much traction, though, so it was pretty...
Yes, it was surprisingly small.
It's almost like a fun breadcrumb trail. So you look back and go like, oh, wow, hey, they've been That's Skulltown.
They didn't just decide last week to make this. Crazy.
Yeah.
Took a couple of years.
Clearly EA didn't dictate this because this leaked here and did that. Oh, yeah.
Well, it wasn't all like arted up at all. It was just a quickie internal dev thing. So I think a lot of people saw it and were like, that's not from a real video game.
That's what
video games look like.
It really is.
Yeah, that's...
Video games are ugly at the start.
Yeah, very, very, very,
Very ugly.
They're ugly up until near the end.
And I imagine like taking, like...
Beautifully ugly.
Well, in our eyes.
I mean, I like the way Tron looks, so if they look like more like Tron early
wish.
on. Yeah, right.
Really, really wish.
Glow.
Do you know about Second Life?
Oh, yeah. I mean, are you trying to sell me pornography? Like, what? Okay.
Are you a cop?
All right. Yeah. Who's asking?
The fidelity of Second Life is about what games in development look like.
Yeah.
That's
okay.
fair.
Yeah.
That's fair.
And so, what was it like taking? I mean, obviously, previously you've been making games with a player cap of like 12, 16 in some cases, to go to a significantly higher number with a lot of that same technology. Is that how long did that take? Is that like rebuilding full? Just like, you rip it all out and start over, or
it was a tough process. I don't know, Rayme, as a programmer, you could probably speak more intelligently.
It's weird. So like a lot of stuff you have a head start on, and then just randomly you won't. Like you'll have to fundamentally rethink a thing, or look at something and be like, well, we can spend 3 years to do this kind of feature, or we can spend 6 months to do this kind of feature, and that'll get us 80% of the way there. It's a lot of those kind of decisions.
So is that sort of thing?
We never do that. Everything's perfect always.
Yeah, super planned out. We know exactly what we're doing from day one. And you just follow the book, and then at the end, you got a beautiful baby.
So how much tech debt are you building up that you have to rip out of the game at some point later and replace with a system that gets you the 100% of the way
We
there?
basically spent Titanfall 2 paying off the tech debt of Titanfall 1.
Yeah.
Okay.
Is how it kind of works.
Yeah.
Yeah, like simple things that you were like, oh, that worked great, and it was awesome in Titanfall 1, like the Vortex Shield. Suck up bullets, District 9, be all super cool.
Yeah.
That was all done in script, which is really slow, and it had to be super special cased for every type of bullet and things that were coming in, and it was spending like tons of time on the CPU doing that. Like, all right, well, there's 4 months of a coder's time to make that actually performant.
Oh, geez. And now, a 2-game, well, at least a 2-game studio, I guess now. With,
Three. We have the VR game.
Oh, right. Yeah. Okay, yeah. So that's, no one would answer me. I wrote, we got a hold of Devin right after, I think, right after.
Let's call him out right now.
Yeah.
Come on, DB. What's going on?
What up?
Right after, I think right after Apex came out, and was like, so is the VR game still happening? Because all the talk was about it. Yeah, so that was a deal you signed with Oculus a while back, right?
Yep. It's an Oculus published game. We haven't talked about what it is yet.
Okay.
Probably at like Oculus Connect this year.
That makes sense.
We'll start to talk about it.
And then
I've seen it.
Is it?
I played it.
Is it all right, or is it?
It's good.
Yeah. Okay, it's a game. Okay, all right. Well, you've heard it here first. It's a game.
And then we have Star Wars. Jedi Fallen Order.
Jedi Fallen Order. That's now out there being shown, being played.
Gameplay.
I think I'm actually playing it tomorrow.
Are you?
Yeah. So I'm interested in seeing that. It's a very different game from a lot of the
You're going early, right?
games
Play the combat gauntlet.
I think
Get trained.
Okay. Yeah, I'll get like
You're no Jedi. You need to be trained.
I know Terrace Kasi.
Damn.
Whoa.
That was a deep cut.
Well,
Whoa.
I have a PlayStation 1.
You have to open it and help spin the disc still?
Yeah, no. Okay. Well, you set it up on its side, and you put it
okay, just making sure.
Sort of stuff. And, a very different game than the stuff that y'all have been making for some time now.
Intentionally.
Was that just like, hey, we need to kind of spread our wings a little bit, get some people of different disciplines in here, and
well, there's a couple of things, right? Like we have this team. A lot of us have been together for
too long.
A very long time. Screw you.
It's like I don't remember a life before.
You shouldn't.
That's right.
There is no life before Respawn.
It's the Vince rule.
There's actually tattoos on the back of our neck.
Wow.
Your barcode will be erased.
The Rockstar guys, I thought, always got it under the watch.
So it was like doing something, we've been a little typecast, right, of the multiplayer guys, the first-person shooter multiplayer guys. So this was, we all enjoy so many different types of games, right?
Yeah.
So this was doing something different. And Stig, amazing. I've been a fan of his forever, been a friend of his forever. Like, to get him to come over and do something, different was, like, for me, like a super great get.
It's been crazy, having only worked on first-person shooters, to watch that team from, like, a distance a little bit and see how they make games and, like, what kind of problems and trials and tribulations they have to go through for a third-person action-adventure single-player game.
Right.
It's like 6 months ago when we knew we were on a good path for Apex, I was thinking like, I wonder what the next game I'll work on is, if it'll be a shooter or not. And it's partially because I was exposed to that.
Right.
And it's like a totally different world. And you'd think, making games is making games. But no, it's like they're experts in their craft and we're experts in our craft. And there's some overlap, but it's like very different.
Especially just like, melee combat in a first-person shooter is usually a very specific, like, I'm going to do this, and then I'm going to do this again. But, like when you go to third person, and obviously you bring in a lightsaber and kind of bladed weapon or something like that, you're suddenly...
So good.
The animations are just like almost exponentially bigger at that point. That's interesting. That it would be, I guess that makes sense. It would be a totally different thing. Wow.
And it's given an opportunity for people to, like, expand their roles and go over and do something different,
right?
Just in the game space, but also like take on a lead position or something where they couldn't necessarily do that on the Titanfall team because we've been together for so long. And it's been so many benefits.
Right. Yeah, there's not a lot of movement within the Apex/Titanfall team. Like we're so solidified that every now and then there's an opportunity for someone to step up, but we've had some of the team that years ago moved over to Stig's team as a chance to really we had a lead programmer who is now the head of all programming on the Star Wars game. And it really killed me to lose him because he is an amazing programmer. Shout out G-Song, you're my guy. It's awesome that he now is given that opportunity. And there's been a couple of those instances. Really cool.
Yeah, and I guess
and hired on some new people that, wouldn't have necessarily come for a first-person shooter. So to have that ability to hire in new talent and really mix it up and expand the knowledge base of kind of the team.
Definitely, like bringing people with like different experiences and Well, so I went to Infinity Ward a few weeks ago, and it was interesting.
I've heard of that.
Yeah,
sounds familiar.
That's a place I'm slightly aware of.
Yeah.
In the kart racer?
We took a bus, went over the mountain. It was weird. It went the wrong way. It was like traffic. I don't know. And it was interesting because they were walking through their presentation of their game, and it was interesting. Hearing them pitch like, hey, we're, rebooting Modern Warfare.
Yeah, it's a little weird.
Yeah, how does that feel?
There's a part of it where it's like humbling, where it's like something that I was involved in is worthy of being rebooted, and it's got so much history that people want to see it like grow and evolve. So there's a little bit of that where it's like, wow, that legacy is huge.
Yeah.
So that's humbling, but at the same time, it's a little emotional, right? Like seeing, Price, and how does that, translate into the future? Like you could
someone else telling
you could
Price's
change the
story.
legacy.
Yeah.
So it's a little like, oh, that's cool. Oh, wait. Oh,
So with the
Little back and forth.
remaster a couple years ago, 3 years ago, it was one super classy move that kept all of our names in the intro credits.
Right.
Yeah,
That was good.
But it was still like playing our game again. This
Yeah.
one I've really enjoyed being a part of the fan side of it.
Right.
Like I'm texting people I know. They're like, dude, you got to get me in to see this because I can't wait.
Yeah.
What have you guys done? Like I'm getting that like sense of excitement that everyone else in the world, like tens of millions of people have, that I didn't get. Like it's a very different experience on the developer side, even when you're super stoked for it.
Yeah.
And really excited for it to come out.
Yeah.
Like I'm now on the other side of that, and it's like looking in.
Yeah,
Really cool.
It was interesting having a couple of the people giving presentations be like, yeah, so I was in Infinity Ward and I did some stuff with the robots for a while, and now I'm back and leading this, and it was fascinating. I just, that's the video game business is really small. Like it's smaller
tiny.
than you think.
It is tiny.
Yeah.
On my way walking over here, I was next to some guys with some Modern Warfare t-shirts, and I was like, hey, how you guys doing?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, no, it's
They're in it for the right reason. Like, just talking to those guys, they really loved what they were doing.
yeah.
They wanted to do something great in the Modern Warfare space. So
Yeah, I think that's fun.
They're making their own game. Like it's cool seeing it. Like
Yeah.
it's their game. Like,
Totally. Yeah.
At first, I was really miffed they didn't get like the original voice actor for price and everything.
Oh,
but
sure.
then I think about like that would probably feel off to me. Like I'm glad that they're going a new route. It's it's like the new when they rebooted Spider-Man recently with Homecoming and be like, it's good that it's a new actor and a new take and everything. And so I'm excited. I can't wait for that.
Yeah, yeah. And just, gosh, the Battle Royale space. It feels like with every new game, and being some dipshit pundit like me, it's just like everyone's like, yeah, the industry can't support another one of these. And Apex now feels like the last one through the door somehow, until it's not, right? And I guess that's always.
well, we've always believed it's a genre of games, right? Like,
Right, yeah, totally. It's,
It's not a mode. It's a new.
how
game
many
type.
team deathmatch games can you support? As many as are good.
right.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
like kind of looking backwards. You can make up some BS about how the world works, but I kind of believe that at least in the shooter space, things work in like an 8 to 10 year span.
Mm-hmm.
So from like Doom onward, we had the like true arena games.
Yeah.
Up until, not to toot our own horn, but you then with COD 4, it turned into progression-based
Yep.
arena games.
Yeah.
There's a slight detour when Counter-Strike made things more realistic and round-based and stuff. And that was kind of like a turning point to more team games. But then we lived in this arena progression space for about a decade until PUBG really blew open what was like undercurrent with all the Arma mods and stuff
Right.
and H1Z1.
Yeah.
And it finally like put enough of the pieces together and was like, look, this is a new thing that can be done really well. And so now we're in like the year 3 or something of the Battle Royale space. And people obviously love it. It's going to last for another 5+ years. And we're in like I think kind of the middle space where it's getting pretty solidified, and then we'll ride that wave, and then what comes next?
Right. Yeah. And
New Doom, though.
New Doom's awesome.
It's so good.
So I saw two
God,
games
so
at
good.
E3
Yeah.
today. I saw Cyberpunk, and I played Doom.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So good.
Doom.
I'm so excited.
It's
Doom.
it's just so tight. Just everything.
Yeah.
Oh,
I was like verbally angry with the guy telling me to get off the station, and it was like the show floor was ending. It was at 7 p.m. It was
Right.
like on the loudspeakers,
Yeah.
like get out, and I was like, no.
let me do this thing. I've got a grappling hook this guy and shoot
On
him
my
with a
super shotgun.
Yeah.
Like how? That's genius. I mean, I even wore like E3 headphones. I put those on my head.
Gross. Yeah. Yeah.
That's how much that game means to me.
Yeah.
Sorry,
Yeah. It's interesting to hear.
I took a shower. It's
like you bring up like the progression-based multiplayer that Modern Warfare 1 kind of rolled out. Like that was at the time that got me so just into that game, and I just could not stop playing it, and just like I got to unlock this stuff, and I'm gonna prestige and do it again. Let's go. And then it just, obviously Modern Warfare 2.
How many times did you do it?
I prestiged twice in COD 4, once in Modern Warfare 2, once in like Black Ops. That's probably where I kind of tapered off a little bit, and it was like, okay, I'm going to play this for about 40 or 50 hours, and then I'm going to move on.
Still impressive.
Twice, though. That's good.
Yeah.
That's good.
I did Prestige in Black Ops 4. That was the first time I had Prestige in
wow.
a good long time. But like that progression system became so ubiquitous. It was like obviously like other shooters started doing it, but then it was like Blur, that driving game that
Which,
Activision
by
did.
the way, that game is underappreciated.
Totally, yeah.
I have like 3 copies just so I never am without Blur.
In case one catches on fire,
Yeah,
you
it's
are always
like
ready.
Mario
Blur was
Kart.
specifically based on Call of Duty.
Totally, yeah. I mean, you can
Like,
see
there
it.
was
You're
that.
like, okay, yeah, you're
there
building
was
loadouts
the
and progression like, yeah.
Transformers Fall of Cybertron
Right,
that it was
yes.
like, I'm playing COD 4 Giant Robot. This is cool. Like, it was awesome.
Well, it's just, it seems like, it seems like such a no-brainer now, but at the time, it was like, oh, well, what if you put like a carrot and a stick out there to be like, hey, you want the better guns, like get some stuff, and but yeah, you're right. I guess like we've, kind of diversified again. Obviously, like those, I don't think we'll ever get to a point where no one is making a progression-based multiplayer game, right? At this
It's
point,
still going to
like
exist.
that's,
Like, again,
Let's hope not.
15 years ago was Super Arena games, and just last week I was playing Splitgate Arena, which is like a Portal,
Right.
Halo,
Oh yeah.
Quake, Unreal combo thing. Like they still
Yes.
exist. There's still an audience for it. It's tiny-ish, but
yeah,
it's still there.
You
People
can
want
find, you can find a game.
I'm that guy.
Yeah.
Yeah, but
is
I
that
still,
guy.
I always go
So
back
that guy.
and,
So that guy.
like once every 6 months I go and install Xonotic, like the open source. It's like a Quake source port, open source first-person shooter, and I just reinstall it and
I thought
compile
I
it from
played
source.
all of them, but you're telling me I haven't.
Yeah, and it's it's all this user-made. It's like a whole open source game,
awesome.
and like I install that and go like, okay, is there anyone? There's no one playing
there's still
it.
like 12 people playing in Poland.
Right, yeah. Yeah, well, no, that's why I play Soldat when I want to play obscure games with people from Poland.
You and me?
Yeah.
We're going to go hard on Soldat some Saturday afternoon.
All right.
It's going to be great.
We'll do a full, next hour, we're just going to talk about Soldat for
Perfect.
an hour.
Matthew actually made a Soldat type game back during Fat 4.
Really?
Yeah. I thought I was the only one who remembered Soldat circa 2008, but no,
Yeah.
it was Mackie as well.
Wow.
Nice.
That doesn't surprise me.
Nice.
Yeah.
So, Star Wars is getting to the point where it's like kind of getting done, right? Kind of wrapping up-ish.
We're close to alpha.
Yeah. And
So
how's
the game is basically playable start to finish now, but in different states of finish. Right?
Yeah.
So
And so that's obviously like each level kind of has to be gone over and
Oh, yeah.
polished up and all that stuff. Are there still segments of the game that you're like, okay, well we have to clean this up to show here? I don't. Is there a Star Wars celebration between now and ship, or is it, are you
I don't think
luckily
there
like
is.
okay?
I'm in Gamescom, right? We'll be out
sure,
at some
yeah.
point, so
Yeah.
maybe we'll
have another little thing.
we'll do something there.
There, yeah. I thought the E3 meme of the show was going to be Forrest Whitaker like holding his thing up, going later, and then flying away, and then Keanu Reeves showed up and blew that whole thing up.
Yeah.
I was like, man, you just cut that
pretty
guy
brilliant.
out and have him just ejecting out of any bad situations. Like, all right, peace. I thought that was going to be the thing.
Yeah, I think Keanu Reeves wins E3.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think he can win anything he
Yeah.
tries, really.
I was in.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So are you just mostly just kind of hanging out at the show, just seeing stuff, or are you like kind of stuck to a booth, like walking people through Star Wars, or kind of giving the glad hand and be like, hey, this game's good?
A lot
Shit.
of press.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, today I think this is the last thing actually for me.
Cool.
I think
I'm officially
ending on
off
you.
the hook.
Nice.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, the last in line.
And they're like, do you want to do a thing at 9 p.m. on Tuesday? And I was like,
Yes.
They're like, it's Giant Bomb. Okay, I'm in. I will end it on a high note.
Well, thank you for coming. Yeah, no, it's it's
I mean,
We go
EA
late.
does their thing on the weekend, so
Right.
we had most
Yeah.
of our
So I guess,
stuff.
yeah, you're just kinda wrapped up. Yeah.
So today was last day of
cool.
real meetings for me.
And how does that feel? I get into a little bit like how does E3 feel to you? Like obviously being at EA Play, having it wrap up and being done. It seems like kind of a strange year from my perspective.
I have not been. I haven't been to the show floor yet, so I don't know. You were over there. What do
It's
you
an
think?
interesting
Rayme,
year.
have you been?
Yeah.
I'm on the floor now.
So there you go, Drew. It's all
Like-
you.
I mean, you've got all like Sony and Activision and EA aren't there. It feels different.
Yeah.
And I spent a little bit of time before they opened the doors at 2 p.m. for the gamer people, which someone I heard called them neons.
Why is that in quotes?
Oh,
I don't know what they're actually called.
Yeah.
The public.
Gamers?
Yeah.
I think their tag says gamer,
yeah.
but they're all
They're all in
in
these
an
hard
orange.
plastic.
And
like
so someone
orange.
was calling them the neons. So when the neons showed up, I was like, I'm out. Like I was like walking around the Bethesda booth. I was like, oh, the air conditioning actually works a little bit. And then there's just wave of people
all running into
And
Nintendo.
I'm sure they had been sitting outside for a long time, and it's LA, and it just got hot.
It's been hot.
Like
yeah.
really hot.
Really hot.
Yeah.
That wasn't a pleasant experience, so I left.
Okay. Yeah. That's sometimes you just gotta get out of Dodge.
Nintendo had crazy lines, I hear.
Oh
right?
yeah, no,
They
it
did
was
every
like
year.
wild.
People love their
every year,
Nintendo.
just people stretched out. I mean, they're showing new Pokemon. You know, what are you gonna do? You know,
Pretty much
Maybe
every E3, I'm like, I'll just walk around and stand in some lines. It'll be cool. I'll see what I want to see. And then I get there and I'm like, no. I got to start finding someone who can get me through these lines.
Can you get me in to see
And
this?
then I realize I'm not as like cool as I thought I was because no one responds my texts. And I'm like, okay, I'll sit in a line.
You used to be able to have the excuse of like, well, there's no signal on the show floor, but like last couple
It's
years,
pretty good.
signal's been pretty good. I don't know if it's just like fewer people or what the deal is.
Yeah, my
but-
text logs are pretty pathetic right now.
Yeah.
Hey, you there? Can you get me in?
You see the Avengers? You give me? No? Oh.
Hear that, Nintendo?
Yeah.
Get us in.
We need to get in.
You gonna put Apex on the Switch? Yeah, that's what it costs, man. You put Apex on the Switch, you get in to see the stuff.
Okay.
Is that what it costs?
Fair play.
I didn't know this. I didn't know that was the exchange.
There's a whole.
We'll have to go back and have a conversation.
All right. Okay.
No. We didn't know.
Okay, well,
We didn't know.
All right, well then we'll expect Apex Legends on Switch. 6 months?
Again, it takes about 2 or 3 weeks.
Okay, great. Okay, yeah, a couple weeks. Someone is like about to run up and slap
Every
you.
engineer in the world right now.
Guys, you're supposed to be slapping one of us.
Wait, what?
All right. Well, thank you so much for coming through. Always a pleasure.
Is it over already?
Yeah, we're gonna let you back out into the
man.
world of Los Angeles.
That was too fast.
It's not a good
Magical
place.
That's
place.
too fast. Let's go another.
We'll have to do it again. Come up to San Francisco. Hang
Who's
out.
coming up next? Let's bump him.
All right. I don't actually know who's coming up next. We got.
They're bigger.
We got a
Real beef.
Yeah?
They're gonna
Okay, forget it then.
It's just elbows nonstop.
Yeah,
so
all right.
we'll let you go before there's trouble.
Bunch of neons out in the hallway.
Oh,
Yeah,
no.
they heard you talking mess, and now they're like, "Oh, we're gonna rise up all over this motherfucker."
It was all Drew.
Hey, man,
I
I'm
love
just
you guys.
reporting what I hear.
Love you guys.
All right, Titanfall 3 in 2020. Can't wait to see it. Launch game for Project Scorpio, right?
You're a bad man.
What a bad person.
You know,
Rayme said it.
he would know.
He would know.
Yeah, he would
Alaska.
definitely know. All right. Well, we'll let you back out of the night. Thanks so much for coming by. Always a pleasure to
Our
talk
pleasure.
to you.
We'll see you next year.
Yeah, absolutely. And we'll be back with another set of guests after this break. Stay tuned, everybody.
They won't be as good, though.
Yeah. No, wait, what? Oh.